Hi, boys and girls. Today, we're going to talk about plants and animals and their habitats. Our focus question is, how do plants and animals compare from one habitat to another? Let's watch this video. Did you see a lot of different plants and animals in different environments? What is a habitat? A habitat is a place where animals and plants live. What is diversity? Diversity is the different types of plants and animals in an area. So we're going to be discussing today about the diversity of the habitats, all the different types of plants and animals in that environment. The first habitat we're going to learn about is the rainforest. As you watch this video, how many rainforest animals can you remember? Think about
It's a drizzly, rainy day outside, so we thought we'd pull out a few of our books and explore some cool, colorful places where wet weather is pretty much the only weather there is. I'm talking about rainforests. You can probably tell from the name that rainforests have a whole lot of two things: trees and rain. And sure enough, rainforests get more rain than any other place on Earth. In some areas of the rainforest, it rains every day, and people often think that rainforests all look like this: warm and steamy, with animals like colorful birds and plants like bananas and mango trees. And there are lots of rainforests like that. But a rainforest can also look like this: home to animals that are adapted to cooler weather, like bears and elk. Both of these places are rainforests, but they're found in different parts of the world. The warm rainforests are found here, close to the imaginary line that runs around the middle of the Earth. This part of the world is called the tropics. It gets lots of sun, which is why the temperature is really warm almost all of the time. And there are a lot of different kinds of plants and animals that live in these warm rainforests. So many, in fact, that scientists talk about the rainforest as having layers that change as you go from the top to the bottom. And different animals and plants live in each layer. For example, at the top layers of the rainforest in the tropics, all you can see is the very tippy tops of the tallest trees. There's lots of sunlight up there that the trees use to grow. So these tall trees have lots of leaves. And these big leafy trees make lots of shade. They block some of the sunlight from getting to the lower layers, kind of like a big green umbrella. And all of the leaves and fruit in the top layers means that there's plenty of food for animals to eat. So many different kinds of animals live up here, like insects, parrots, bats, monkeys, and sloths. Some of these animals never even go down to the ground at all. They don't need to. Everything they need is at the top of the rainforest. Now, the lower layers don't get as much sunlight as the top, but they're still home to plenty of living things like snakes, lizards, and even big cats like tigers and jaguars. And just like the animals at the top of the rainforest, animals down below are perfectly suited to the place where they live. The big cats, for example, have patterns on their coats that help them blend in with the rainforest. The jaguar has spots, and the tiger, as you all know, has stripes. And these patterns help the animals hide amongst the shadows of the trees. Okay, but what about the cooler rainforests? They're found here, much farther away from the tropics. These rainforests are cooler because they don't get as much sun as the warmer ones. They also have layers, But the plants and animals that live there are pretty different. The top layer of cooler rainforest, for example, is made of conifers. Those are the kinds of trees that usually have cones, like pines and redwood trees. And these kinds of trees have needles too, like some other kinds of evergreens. These needles help the trees save energy during the cold winters. And it's not only the plants that are different here. Animals that live in these rainforests also have to be able to live in cooler temperatures. So many of the creatures that live in the lower layers of these rainforests have coats that help keep them warm. For example, some tigers live in these cool rainforests, and they also have striped coats that help them blend into the shadows. But their fur is nice and thick, so it keeps them warm. And other furry mammals live in these cold forests, like brown bears, black bears, and elk. Quite different from the macaws and monkeys that live in the warmer forests. Wow, that was quite an imaginary tour. We went all over the world in just a few minutes. But now I want to find out even more about the amazing rainforests around our world. Come on, Squeaks, let's head to the library. Thanks for joining us on SciShow Kids. Do you have a question about something or some place in the world that you'd like to learn more about? If so, ask a grown-up to help you. Leave a comment down below or send us an email to kids@scishow.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time here at the Fort.
All right, did you see lots of animals in the video? Let's take a look at our next habitat, the pond.
Life at the Pond, written by B. Silverberg. The pond shines in the sun. The water is quiet. Many things live in the pond. The pond is like a small world. It is home to many plants and fish. It is home to many reptiles and other animals. Around the pond, ducks feed and play. They gobble tiny plants and dive to catch small fish. Mama duck watches her babies learn to swim. What fun! Big and small birds feed by the pond. Some of them snap up flying insects. The big blue heron spears a fish and gobbles it whole. How yummy! The top of the water is like a thin sheet. Insects skate, hop, and float on it. The water strider skates on long legs. The springtail hops across with its tail. Here we go! Whirligig beetles spin on the water. They have eyes on each side to look up and down. Lily pads with pretty flowers float on top. The roots and stems are under the water, way at the bottom. Frogs begin as tiny eggs in the water. The eggs become wiggly tadpoles, and the tadpoles grow into frogs with legs. They jump in and out of the water, looking for food. The bullfrog is one of the biggest frogs. He makes a big splash when he jumps in. He has a very loud croak that sounds like chug-a-rum, chug-a-rum. What is that pile of sticks in the water? Beavers have built a house for their family. When a beaver swims, it smacks the water with his tail. Smack! Turtles in the pond snap up little fish to eat. In winter, the turtles sleep down in the mud. When it gets warm, they sun themselves on a big log in the water. Fish of many sizes and colors swim in the pond. They breathe under the water. Down in the mud, mama fish lays eggs. Later on, papa fish watches the babies. The pond is a small world where birds and fish, bugs and turtles, and many plants all live together. What a fun world!
I want you to think about the rainforest and the pond habitats. How is a pond like a rainforest? How is a pond different than a rainforest? Let's take a look into these two habitats. I want you to look at the two pictures. What do you notice? Think about how the pond is similar to the rainforest. use these sentence stems to help you. So we could say the pond is similar to the rainforest and that both of them have, well, I see that both of them have birds. I can see a toucan here. I see some ducks. Do you see anything else that's similar? Both habitats have water, plants, insects, and animals. Do you agree with that? Well, I see trees and the plants in the water. I see insects like the dragonflies and the butterflies, snakes. The rainforest has more trees and gets a lot of rain, but it gets less sunlight. So we could say that the rainforest is different from the pond in that it gets more rain. The pond has more plants and animals that live in the water, and it also gets more sunlight because it doesn't have all the trees that block the sunlight from coming in. There are more animals in the trees in the rainforest, whereas a lot of the animals were in the pond in the water. The rainforest also has a lot more trees that are closer together. Do you see anything else that's the same or different? Let's take a look at our next habitat. This habitat is called the grasslands. And as you watch this video, I want you to think about this question. How are the plants in a grassland different than the plants in a rainforest? Let's watch and see.
Hi friends, today we're going to learn a little bit about the habitat of the grasslands. The temperate grassland has lots of grass and few trees, along with some big animals. Temperate grasslands are located in South Africa, Uruguay, Argentina, Russia, Hungary, and North America. Grasslands average 20 to 25 inches of rainfall a year. That's not a lot of rainfall. And if you go back, you can see that the majority of the rainfall happens between May and September. Grasslands have hot summers and mild winters. And you can see that the hottest times, again, falling in that May to September range, and then those cold temperatures, which can get to below freezing, fall in January, February, November, and December. Grasslands have tall and short grass. They also have droughts, which means they are really dry and they don't get a lot of rain. And when those lands are really dry, they can get occasional fires, which are hazardous to the plants and animals in that habitat. They also are home to large grazing animals and very fertile soils, good for plants. There are a few trees like oaks, willows, and flowers. We will find gazelles, zebras, rhinos, wild horses, lions, prairie dogs, hawks, owls, snakes, grasshoppers. We can further divide temperate grasslands into prairies and steppes. Prairies have tall grasses and steppes short grasses. Steppes receive less rainfall than prairies. Enjoy the grasslands.
between the plants in the rainforest and the plants in the grassland? I noticed that the plants in the rainforest are a lot more green, and there's a lot more of those plants in the rainforest, and they're very colorful. Whereas the plants in the grasslands are more of the green and brown color, and they're more spread out, and there's not as many. Did you notice that? Let's take a look at the next slide. So here, we see a picture of the grasslands. And along the side, you'll see some plants and animals that belong in this habitat. What plants and animals would you put on top of this picture? We have a penguin. Does a penguin belong in the grassland? No. It has flippers. So where would a penguin go? Well, somewhere that would have to have water, right? How about a lion? Does a lion belong in the grassland? Yes. Oops. Sorry. Yes, a lion would belong in those grasslands. What about prairie dogs? You're right. They belong in this habitat also. Elephants? Yes, you would find elephants in the grasslands. What about a walrus? No, a walrus would have to be in a habitat with water, right? And what about a polar bear? Polar bears, they need that cold environment because they have all that fur and they like water too. What about the acacia tree? Would it go in the grassland environment? Mm-hmm. Now, this next plant is called the purple saxifrage. Does it belong in the grasslands? No, not in the grasslands. This one is buffalo grass. Would buffalo grass grow in the grasslands? Yes, buffalo grass you would find in the grasslands. And what about this reindeer lichen? No, it wouldn't be found in the grasslands. Let's continue. The next habitat that we are going to learn about is the tundra, the Arctic and the Alpine. While you're watching the video, I want you to think about some of the organisms that you could find in this tundra.
Welcome to Moo Math and Science. In this video, I'd like to talk about two types of tundra, the Arctic tundra and the Alpine tundra. The Arctic tundra is found in North America, Asia, and Europe, encircles the Arctic Circle and stretches southward down to the taiga. The tundra is cold, and during the winter, the temperatures can drop to minus 20 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer, the temperatures may rise to 40 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and this allows the tundra to have life. The soil of the tundra is a little bit different and is called the permafrost. It has a frozen layer on top of the soil almost all year. Plants in the tundra have a short growing season and are small, short plants. Examples include lichen, moss, and shrubs. There are not trees in the tundra, and it only receives between 6 and 10 inches of rainfall a year. There are animals found in the tundra, and these may include lemming, the Arctic fox, snowbirds, and the polar bear, along with grasshoppers and flies. They have adaptations that help them survive the cold. This may include thick fur, or they may be white in color. The white color helps the animal blend in and helps prevent heat loss. The alpine tundra occurs at almost any latitude and is found at high elevations of 10,000 feet and above. The alpine tundra is found above the tree line and again does not have any trees. Because of the high elevation, the alpine tundra has a climate and rainfall similar to the Arctic tundra, cold and dry with a short growing season. Some common examples of the alpine tundra include the Himalayas, the Pyrenees, the Rocky Mountains, and the Alaska Range. The vegetation of the alpine tundra include grasses and low-lying shrubs. Because the alpine tundra is located in various separated regions on Earth, there are no animal species common to all areas of the alpine tundra. However, some animals of the alpine tundra include a mountain goat, chinchilla, and yak. So there we go, 2 types of tundra, the Arctic and the alpine tundra. Thanks for watching.
Did you see some plants or animals that you could find in both a pond and a tundra? Awesome. Let's look at the next slide. So now we have a picture of the tundra habitat. So what animals could we put into our tundra? Penguin. Oops, I did it again. Penguins, walrus, polar bear. Good job. What about the plants? We had the purple, the purple saxifrage. We had the reindeer lichen. Awesome. All right. Last one. Do these 2 animals live in the same habitat? Yes or no? If you said no, you are correct. How do you know? Well, we could look at the characteristics of these animals. The walrus over here has no fur and has fins. And the buffalo, he has fur and hooves and 4 legs. So that tells me that the walrus would need to be in a habitat that has water. And he has a lot of blubber and really thick skin, which will keep him really warm. So he probably needs to be in a colder climate than a hotter climate. So where would we find the walrus? We would find him in the Arctic or that tundra habitat. And then the buffalo, he would be in those grassland habitats. That's correct.